Her name is Andrea Fry, and she is a poet herself. And she's going to introduce the first poet who would like to read for you. And after she reads, then I hope Dubin will be here to play his flute, okay? So thank you very much. Here's Andrea.
Thank you, Carol. And thank you to the Menkiti family and to the extended Grolier family. It's a thrill and honor to participate in this lovely tribute to Ifeanyi, professor, a poet, professor, philosopher, and his rich life. We have three wonderful readers today, and I'm going to start with Danielle Legros Georges. Danielle is a poet, a literary translator, and editor whose work has been supported by fellowships and grants from organizations, including the American Antiquarian Society, the Heim Translation Fund, the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art, the Boston Foundation, and the Black Metropolis Research Consortium. Danielle was appointed Boston's Poet Laureate in 2014, and she served in the role for 4 years. Her most recent book is Wheatley at 250, Black Women Poets Reimagine the Verse of Phillis Wheatley Peters. Her forthcoming book from Zephyr Press is titled Her Blue Flare, 3 Haitian Poets. This is an anthology of translations from the French and Kreyòl. Please welcome Danielle.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Carol. It's really great to be here with the Menkiti family, with the Grolier family, and with all of you. Celebrating Ifeanyi Menkiti, who, as Andrea mentioned, was a philosopher. And as you know, the role of the philosopher is to ask questions, or one of the roles of the philosopher, about our lives, about the world around us, to engage questions that we typically don't have time for in our everyday lives. So I'd like to read to you a poem by Ifeanyi entitled A Question. A question from a young girl. Whether snakes ever bite each other, and if they do, whether those among them who bite ever get thrown out of snake heaven. To which question the mother has no answer, though she promises she will have an answer if only the young girl would stop asking. From Ifeanyi's book. So I'll read some of my poems. Still life with orbs. Between the thing and the name of it is a world, and a world behind this world. There is my mask placed on the table. There is the wooden table and the space beneath it. There is an orange on the floor when it should be on the table in the yellow basket meant for oranges, but which contains a cat.
Here's some.
Licking one front paw. What do cats know of oranges? What do birds know of water? Unless they plunge their beaks into it, breaking some poor fish's sleep. What do fish know of birds, except the slash of bill, the sudden flash, the stop? A stateless poem. If you are born and you are stateless, if you are born and you are unhoused, if your state and home are not yours, yet everything you know, what are you? Who are you? And who am I without the dark fields I walk upon, the streets I know, the blue corners I call mine, the ones you call yours? Who am I to call myself citizen and human and free? And who are you to call yourself landed and grounded and free? And who is judge enough? Who native? Who other? And who are we who move so freely without accents of identification, without skin of identification, with all manner of identification, with gold seals of approval, with stamps of good fortune, with the accident of blameless birth? Who are we? Who are we to be so lucky? Short poem that addresses individuality in this moment and climate in which there's a good deal of categorization and othering that takes place. Only. Nature hides the most beautiful design, the norm, the anomaly, the rare, the rarest, which is to say, the only. And aren't we each members of twins even? Only? So now I'll read from my latest book. It's a book of translations. This is an act of shameless self-promotion. The Blue Flare. I translate the work of three living and very noted Haitian women. One who lives in Port-au-Prince, one who lives in Montreal, one who lives in Paris. So I'll read to you a poem by Marie-Célie Aillon. She is, or she was, until very recently, the poet laureate of all of Canada. Her poem is entitled Balafre, or Gash. And I'll read to you the French original, and then I'll read to you my translation. Balafre. Sur les rides du monde, pour conjurer l'oubli, je veux écrire un long poème. Les ongles plantés dans l'écorce de la terre, au creux du mensonge, je veux écrire des phrases témoins. Sur tous les silences complices, je veux ma plume. Torrent, cavalcade, je veux ma plume. Ciseaux, je veux ma plume. Et réinventer ta vérité au monde. Gash. On the world's wrinkles, I want to fend off forgetfulness. I want to write a long poem. Fingernails planted in the peel of the earth, deep in the lie, I want to write phrases of witness. On all the complicit silences, I want my pen. Gush and procession, I want my pen. Chisel, I want my pen. Reinventing your truth, O world. Marie-Célie Aillon. I'll read to you an excerpt of a long poem by Evelyne Trouillot. Kreyòl. I'll read a couple of stanzas of the Kreyòl, and then I'll read a longer excerpt in English. Laisse-moi m'bouquer chercher lumière dans le coin miraille. Moi qui t'ai ou raconter histoire. Sorti depuis entrailles en mai, rivé dans l'ombraille, dans sous point de cheveux, Nan ki lang pou m'pale ave ou, lem anvi mode ou, jis yon gou la te pan nou an de. Se pa pou nou la lin ka bel, si li mien anje ou, pa ka mare l'arc-en-ciel. When my mind grows tired of seeking light in corners, I let you tell our story that comes from the belly of the sea, reaches the shadow of your teeth at the tips of my hair. In what language should I speak to you when I want to bite you? Till the taste of the earth splits us in two. Moon isn't beautiful for us if the light of your eyes can't find the rainbow. Yet life has days in which it says, je t'aime. On those days, your arms surround my heart. Your face bathes in the depths of my eyes. You wrap me from inside. We don't need to change skins. What language should I speak to you when you don't need to speak for me to answer? Enter, sweetheart. Doves drop a final bit of love on the edge of our mouths for the road. Evelyn Trouillot. And I will close with another Ayon, Marie-Célie Ayon poem. I've forgotten all about that. There's a table of contents. Well, okay, I can't find the poem that I was, oh, here it is, here it is. I'll read to you the first two stanzas in French and then the English translation, the entire English translation. Inventorial, inventaire. Fleurs, flammes, femme, fontaine. On t'a voulu Vestale, on t'a voulu flamme, flamme, Vestale, femme, forteresse, pour veiller, conforter, donner vie au sexe fragile, sexe primace. On t'a voulu Vestale, flamme, femme, femme, forteresse, femme, nombril, femme des stocks, fleurs fragiles, où s'engouffrent les ondes éphémères des saisons de pleurs. Inventory. Flower, flame, woman, fountain. They wanted you vestal. They wanted you flame, flame, vestal, woman, fortress, to watch over, to comfort, to give life to the fragility, to frost. They wanted you vestal, flame, woman, woman, fortress, woman, navel, woman thrusting delicate flower, engulfed by the transient waves of attraction seasons. They wanted you river, they wanted you crystal, crystal, fountain, clear and mute, river, troubling, giving, intoxicating, cave of Alibaba. They wanted you flame, woman, flower, crystal, fountain, vestal, Amazon, infibulated, open. They wanted you ocean, cave, stream, sight of confused desires gone astray, awkward, chained, forever wanting, mute, guilty, woman with no luggage, with no memories of your own dreams. You go stumbling across your part of the world. You go. I write to celebrate your body of indulgence, stretched by my often clumsy lips, your sex hungry for new breath to express your best seasons, long cut away. Mariceliano. And I wanted to read these because Ifeanyi taught at Wellesley and was, I know, a feminist. And Mariceliano is a wonderful feminist. Thank you all.
Oh, is he here? Is Dubin? She's going to introduce the next. Andrea is, I guess, Dubin's not here.
Danielle, thank you so much. That was
Yes,
really,
that
really
was-
superb. I'm gonna introduce our next reader, Sajed Kamal. Sajed is a poet, artist, a literary translator, and renewable energy and sustainable development educator. He was born in West Bengal, India, and grew up in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. Sajed came to the Loomis School in Connecticut in 1963 and has since taught at Boston University, Northeastern University, Antioch, New England Graduate School, and Brandeis. Sajed is the author of more than a dozen books on various subjects, both in English and Bengali. His poems, translations, and articles on different subjects have been published in the United States and abroad, and his paintings, sculptures, and photographs have been exhibited in many individual and group shows. His latest books of poems are Doves, Not Bombs, Poetry for Peace, and Dance, Shiva, Dance, Poetry on Colonization and Liberation. Please join me in welcoming Sajed.
Thank you, Andrea. And thank you, Carol. And thanks to the entire Menkiti family for many, many years of friendship. Just a brief background information. It was 1978. First met Ifeanyi, myself and my wife, Rosie. And our matchmaker was our common friend and poet, Kathleen Spivak. She said that you two should meet. So we did meet, 8 Grand Street, right, in Cambridge. Okay. And that was the beginning of a lifelong friendship. And as our friendship grew, our families grew, we remained friends, and our friendship multiplied. Along the way, both Ifeanyi and I were also involved with an organization called Third World Scholars Consortium, which was founded by the late PM John. And it was a very important organization for the time that lasted. And I'm very happy that PM's son, Bindu, is here.
Daughter.
So daughter is here. Bindu, thank you for being here. So anyway, fast forward, when Ifeanyi turned a young man of 70 and older man of wisdom, we were celebrating his birthday. And I wrote a poem for him. And I thought I'd start with that poem. To Ifeanyi. Age, is a curious thing. Like most things that backward and forward sway, age, one way is always forward, not ever backward, whether you like it or not. Go ahead, try to turn it around. Appeal to the Supreme Court or the Court Supreme. Try with all your might, try it with everything you got, but it's of no use. No use at all, because age, the curious thing,
Making fun of him.
like most things that backward and forward sway. Age,
It's hard to understand. It's an hour. It got started late.
oh, only one way,
Poetry reading, I told you, 7 o'clock.
forward way.
It's Menkiti, Grolier. You should see Carol. She's got this get up. You should see her. You just make it. You understood this before. I can't keep it up. I don't need those chicken things cooked especially for me.
Yes, yes.
I'm in this. So it's cool because yeah, you have the Sonos speakers.
Was so good, but you were.
Thank you. Oh, that's a pleasantly surprising interruption. Broke the silence at least. Okay, thank you. All right. So, to Ifeanyi, age, the curious thing. Unlike most things that backward and forward sway, age, that curious thing, only one. And that one way is always forward, not ever, never backward. Whether you like it or not, go ahead, try to turn it around. Appeal to the Supreme Court or to the Court Supreme. Try with your all might, with all your might, try it everything you've got. No use at all. Because age, that curious thing. Unlike most things that backward and forward sway, age, that curious thing, moves only one way, the forward way. Age, that curious thing, it occurred to me one afternoon, is also like a book. Page by page, you read it one way, the forward way. No matter what the title, the size, the book, pages have words, even words of wisdom, like everyday stories that teach. By living those stories in the everyday book, we journey toward the back cover with this time to reach. But wait, don't dwell on that, dear Ifeanyi. What's 70? Yes, we are here to celebrate your 70th for sure, but also to wish you many more pages in your book of age. To thank you for being who you are. A great friend, husband, father, grandfather, poet, philosopher, professor, savior of Grolier, humble and wise. Isn't that someone we call, if I must spell it out, sage? Thank you. So now I'd like to read my own poems, and it's from my latest book called The Doves Not Bombed, Poetry for Peace. Plus that we all are here concerned about the issue. I think there are a lot of hopeful signs, but at the same time, that somehow we seem to be surviving by accident. So it's important for us to think about, is there another way, the alternative to that? I will begin my first poem. Well, Seeds of Peace in Times of War. And I begin it with a quote. You all know it's from the Bible. As you sow, so shall you reap. Like from a seed into a plant, into a tree, think peace, talk peace, sing peace, pray peace. If peace, one day, the prison walls of our war will crumble. Yes, the prison walls of war will crumble. The souls inside, trapped in fear, in distrust, in mistrust, in ignorance, in greed, in vengeance, in ambition, in hatred, in prejudice, in denial, in indifference, in darkness. See the light and be set free. Yes, we will see the light and be set free. Me. And the whole world will be one, you and me, and we'll dance freedom, we'll dance peace, we'll dance you and me. Yes, we will dance you and me in peace and be free. So now from spiritual, philosophical planting seed to some real seeds with real people. Real people are grandchildren, our son. So we are planting a tree. Title of the poem is Planting a Peace Tree. And I have a quotation here in the beginning. When we plant trees, we plant the seeds of peace and safety. Wangan Matai. Poem. In a world at war with itself, divided, broken up, walled up, hostile, reaming against manufactured enemies, weapon trade booming, and under the sky dominated by war hawks and space infested with warheads, step by step, with gentle care, 3 generations, ages ranging from 1 to 78. Together, we plant a juniper tree. The prayer in our hearts, enough to nest. I trust we all care about the little ones that are being born every day and have been born and will be born. And I think as a human being, I think we share that concern. So the poem I wrote, thought, prayer, hope in mind. And it's called A Very Bright Day. And I dedicate it to first to our grandsons, Akash, Aikido, Leia, Aaron, Rishabh, Galileo, Kaylee, and Ariane, and all the children and newborns of the world. The quotation here, driving away what's evil and crooked, will then welcome the newborns with a freed up voice. That's why we must stand up and oppose with a vow to life, build a beautiful world free of disgrace for the newborns. Quotation from a poem by Sufia Kamal. Of the poem. Time to turn the lights off and go to sleep. It's been a very busy day. Hope I'll sleep deep. The pandemic still spreading, overshadowing peaceful marches to end racism and claim justice, the streets exploding with looting and burning and rioting, devising tweets and speeches of the president and his hypocritical photo ops defiling the Bible, provoking people, war hawks in all kinds of guises, flexing muscles with their fingers on the button, threatening to launch the bomb of mutual assured destruction. Bad. Humatons in safety cages playing video game, drones terrorizing and shredding innocent lives into pieces in remote corners of the world. The weather too, literally and figuratively, has been so unpredictable, making the forecast unreliable. Climate change, what the scientists warn us about. What will the day be like tomorrow? Will it be sunny? Will it be rainy? Will it be cloudy? Will it be cheery? Will it be gray? No question. What good are these answers really? It's exhausting. Is it worth losing my sleep over it? Still, I can feel my heart warming. My face. There's Aikido, there's Leia, there's Aaron, there's Rishabh, there's Galileo, there's Kaylee, there's Ariane, and there's Akash on the way, along with all the other children and newborns here, there, everywhere, right around me and far away. I feel convinced that these messengers of hope these messengers of compassion, these messengers of love, these messengers of justice, these messengers of peace, no matter what tomorrow will be like, no matter what the forecasts say, sunny or rainy or cloudy or gray, my heart tells me, and my little face shows me, with a renewed vow to work for a better world when I wake up tomorrow, spreading them, guaranteed. Going to be a very bright day. So this one, I just want a little longer and that's very short, so I did meaningful. It's called The Dove in Flight. There's two quotes in front. One says, nothing will end war unless the people themselves refuse to go to war. That's by Albert Einstein. The other is, the doomsday clock is ticking loudly enough for all to hear. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General. When Tal Mitnick, 18, the first Israeli conscientious objector jailed for refusing military service in revenge war in Gaza, says, we are the future, and we can change. When anti-war hero US Airman Aaron Bushnell, like many others, named and unnamed throughout history, driven by conscience and courage in an extreme act to end war, to no longer be complicit to genocide with violence toward none, and in self-immolation by fire, standing in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., pours gasoline over his own body and lights a match, and defying the pain of burning flesh and without a single cry of suffering, words calls out, free Palestine, free Palestine. And when, in a simple act to end war, people of all ages, some in strollers, some in wheelchairs, some in bare feet, some in combat boots, across the world, in rain or shine, freezing cold or scorching heat, anti-war rallies, holding up banners demanding ceasefire now, free Palestine, stop the genocide, divest from the war machine, end war, peace now. When campuses of schools, colleges, and universities sweeping across the nation and the global landscape, vigils, teach-ins, sit-ins, leaflets and banners, poetry, music, and song, fueled by the indomitable power of conscience, courage, justice for all, solidarity, and nonviolence, resemble the 60s. When, in the privacy of a home, far removed from all the commotion, in the calm landscape of what used to be homes, playgrounds, schools, hospitals, olive groves, the rubble, rather graveyard of decaying bodies of children and innocent men and women buried underneath, the loving care of our parents. Perplexed but with clarity and purity, the conscientious heart. 9-year-old Daphne says, I just don't understand why people can't just be nice to each other. I think that the war shouldn't be allowed. Then I know in my heart, and you know in your heart, the cage with the locked and bolted door has shattered open. The dove is set free, set free to take flight, spanning the globe, eastward, westward, northward, southward, daring to fly through showering missiles and transforming the bomb landscape and mass graveyards of innocence into a landscape of sprouting olive branches. Such a conscientious objection to war, in such an extreme act to end war, in such a simple act to end war, in such an act of solidarity and nonviolence in war, in such a compassionate and innocent voice to end war. The dove is in flight. 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 last one, a very short one. It's called Let It Fly. There's a quotation before it. The poem said, "The desire for peace is universal." Ali Chaplin. The desire for peace is universal. Poem. Searching for a dove of peace with an olive branch too. It's nesting somewhere in someone's heart. Oh, it's in you. Thank you.
Actually, Tim is here. We're gonna save him for the last. Andrea's gonna introduce the next poet.
Thank you, Sajed. Our next reader is U-Meleni Mhlaba-Adebo. U-Meleni is a Zimbabwean American poet, performance artist, storyteller, and educator who divides her time between Africa and Boston. She serves on the boards of Mass Poetry and the Zimbabwe Poets Society. A champion of social impact and equality, U-Meleni was awarded a certificate of recognition in 2023 by Boston Mayor Michelle Wu and received the prestigious Brother Thomas Fellowship by the Boston Foundation. This year, U-Meleni filmed, directed, and wrote the short Reclamation, This Is My Country, This Is My Land, which premiered at the We Create Festival in Boston. She also received the Lantern Art Space Fellowship in partnership with Goethe Institute Nigeria and the Sahara Center, where she promotes cultural expression and accessibility in Lagos. Her poetry collection, Soul Psalms, published in 2016, was praised by Dr. Tema Bryant Davis, the president of the American Psychological Association, as a therapeutic collection, beautifully transparent. Meleni's recent contributions appear in Linda Villarosa's book, Under the Skin, The Hidden Toll of Racism on American Lives and on the Health of Our Nation. Please join me in welcoming you, Meleni.
Good evening. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you to the Menkiti family and everyone for inviting me to read. So I wanted to begin with a poem about place. So as you heard, I split my time between Boston and Africa, specifically Nigeria. So I thought it fitting to kick it off with a poem by Professor Menkiti in this book. It's called How to Speak Nigerian. In Bangkok, where they speak Tagalog, in Lagos, where they speak Nigerian. Nigerian, what sort of language is it? That the British carved themselves a territory out of the swamps in Africa and would have stayed forever had the mosquitoes not given them itches, malaria, and swollen toes. On His Majesty's service was one thing, but to die of fever and snake bite, that was too much to ask. English. So I'm from Zimbabwe, which is a very small country, maybe 20 million people. So moving to my husband's country, Nigeria, was shocking to the system. Essentially, there are that many people in Lagos, about 20 million people, so many people. So I've been experiencing very different things. And so I'm going to share with you a few of the things I've been seeing on the way taking my son to school. It's what is called No Shame. There are people littered on hard pavements, covered in adire by the rusty bus stop. I saw a man peddling watches, nuts, and art front-facing towards traffic. Have you no shame? Have you no shame when you charter private planes and your people, they have hunger pains? It's raining, it's raining, it's raining. Will it wash away dreams? Palm trees line the highway. Thank you for the shade, but does the big man know that our lives are not the same? That our lives are not games? It's so hard. Some of us haven't eaten in days, and it's raining, and it's raining, and it's raining. And some of us can't find work. Even though we've studied, some of us can't find work. Have you no shame? Have you no shame when you charter private planes and your people, they have hunger pains? Sometimes all you can do is write poems when you see things around you. And again, there's so many beautiful things, of course, in Lagos, but these are the things that really touched my spirit I wanted to share. So another thing I wanted to talk about is there's this woman I see in the morning when I drop my son off at school and she's singing outside. It's the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. I drop him off at about 7 a.m. and it's the best part of my morning. I drop him off and I listen to this woman singing. And so this is a poem for her. It's called The Queen of Street Sweeping. I met the woman. I met the woman in a red dress who sings at my son's school. Her voice is sweet. It's sweet like puff puff on expectant lips. I am certain God hears her prayers, pours joy right from the heavens into her heart. Her smile illuminates her charcoal colored skin like black pearls. She is the queen of street sweeping. So a lot of people have said to us when we're in Nigeria, why on earth would we go home? Why would we then go back to Lagos? And the funny thing is, I'm like, are people forgetting that I'm actually from Africa? So being here in America, yes, I was born here, but Africa is home too. So really, I'm just going home. And so, but I started thinking about, well, what does it mean when we have to leave home? Why do we leave home? And it could be literally your home. Maybe you go to a different town, or you could go to a different country or a different continent. And I found this poem by Ruth Padel. It's called The Mara Crossing. And I fell in love with it so much, but I reimagined it in my mother tongue, Shona. So this poem is going to require audience participation. Okay, everybody's like, okay, so I'm gonna need your voice. It's gonna be one, I promise you, it won't hurt. So when I say the word unoenda, say it with me. Unoenda. Okay, so unoenda means you go. And it's this whole idea is that we go somewhere and we go. So anytime I say unoenda, I'm going to say to you, say with me, unoenda. Unoenda. Okay, you got it, you'll be fine. All right, so here we go. This is the poem that I reimagined. I love to bend language. Unoenda, say it with me. Unoenda because you've met someone, because moyo wako unofefetera because you've made a vow. Unoenda because Chando is coming. Spring is coming, masoja kuya, plague, flood, a new religion, a new idea. Unoenda, unoenda. Because the world rotates, nigari kuchinja, warasa maki, unoenda. Unoenda. Unoenda because there's food over the hill and there'll be gold. Unoenda. Unoenda because where you need to shanda. Unoenda. Because the streets are paved with gold and baba akakuenda, akaenda, and when he was your age. Unoenda. Because the waters are rising, the ice sheet is melting, the rivers are dry, and there are no more hoe in the sea. Unoenda. Unoenda. One more time. Because mwari akakutaurira, because wakazvirota, because kuri kupisa, kuri kutonhora, because you are on a quest for knowledge, and knowledge is always beyond, because you're looking for the meaning of life, a tall tree to rest in. Unoenda. Because travel is holy, because your body is wired to go, because you can't pay the rent, because creditors lie in wait for your children after school, because there's nothing left to hope for, because there's everything to hope for, and all life is a risk. Unoyenda. Unoyenda. Because you can't cope with your gift, because other people can't cope with your gift, because you have no gift and the barbarians are after you, because eagles have died. Eagles have died off with the vultures and the ancestors are angry and there's no one to clean the bones. Unoyenda. In peace. Unoyenda. Unoyenda. Because someone has offered you a job because you've given up and you might as well. Unoyenda. In hope, in faith, in deep snow, without question, because your father's dying wish, because it was your father's dying wish, because you have no feet, you have no place to shed your skin in safety with 1,000 questions, and you're growing up and you're growing old, saying goodbye to the might have beens. You can't step in the same river twice. Unoyenda. There's hope and need and escape are names for the same God. Unoyenda. Unoyenda. Because life is cheap and you can't take it with you. Unoyenda. Because you are alive. Because you are alive. Because you are alive. Thank you. So one of the things I'm so grateful for is Professor Menkiti really inspired me to write my book. He really encouraged me when I was really feeling defeated. And so I think it's so important for us to be witness to the next generation. So I'm honored to share the stage with my son, Mhlaba-Adebo. He is also a published poet. He published in the Right on the Dot volume. He is 13 and he's going to be in grade 9. So I ask you to warmly welcome him to share a poem.
This poem is inspired by a poem that I read in school about windows. A world in windows. Round a large, stiff black building. Windows in all directions. 1, 2. Endlessly counting. The sunlight through the window sill. Pictures here and there. The whiff of food being cooked, eaten, and leftovers taken away. Artistic shapes. Rings around lights, the hot but chilly air. Life inside a window, life outside a window house. In a world without windows, how would anything shine?
And my last poem I'm going to read. Thank you so much for the warm-up. I'm so proud. It's We Shine Bright. I was commissioned to write this piece for Castle of Our Skins, is a nonprofit here in Boston. They do incredible work, really celebrating the music of Africans and African Americans. I was commissioned to write this piece for their anniversary, but really I consider it to be an anthem. So we shine bright and leave you with this. We've been here in the space before the beginning. People seasoned by different suns, the complicated, beautiful beginning, weaving sacred stories stolen, stitched inside and outside the lines. Page by page, note by note, we write life. We lift each other. Shine bright. Even in dark spaces, we are blinding, we are lightning. We sang before songs became beacons. Voices resound as if God herself were plucking sacred skins, sacred strings in our mouths. Let us baptize you. Sacred people, skin made holy, evidence of wonder. We shine bright. Even in dark spaces, we are blinding, we are lightning. Sail across oceans of our tears. Always floats. Let the waters baptize you. We become religion, shapeshifters of music, sorrowful melodies turn jubilant. We've earned this castle, earned this crown, make music even in our silence, our joy melodic, unflinching, glorious. We fly, we walk, we reach for freedom, always. We shine. Even in dark spaces, we are blinding, we are lightning. Thank you.
Lady and Javilani, thank you so much. That was terrific. So we've heard from four great poets. And since I have the imaginary mic right now, I've never been one to turn down an opportunity to read a few poems. So I'm gonna read a few of my newer poems since my last book. And this first one is called War and Linen Closets. I have no firsthand experience of war. Never been chased by bombs. My family never slaughtered. I never had to flee my country with a starving baby strapped to my chest. What am I to those who have? What could I possibly share with them? If someone gave me a gravy boat so I could entertain, what would a refugee from Gaza, Afghanistan, or Myanmar say about my linen closet, my gravy boat? They would wonder if I was for real. They'd swear I was a ghost. I can't comprehend how this world houses both, which is why my dreams are so contrived. I become a cowgirl with a lasso in each arm, twirling contraries in the air, keeping them each aloft, my whirling hemp genies. I rope together all the opposites, north and south, or incongruous things, eternity and scissors, things that buck against each other like angry broncos, too dissimilar to get your head around. War and linen closets or a gravy boat, whatever. And in my dreams, once I've roped them, I marry them. For example, I assign the horrors I've never really seen, but I know exist, to my linen closet, each one to its own cubby. I fold them neatly into rectangles, maybe even starch and press them so they lie flat and tidy like pillowcases. Rape is there, sharing the air with spring rain fabric softener. Mother's murder is next to the lavender sachet. I put starving children on the top shelf, along with the other sheets with blood stains. Bulky things that can't be folded, those things that will never be understood, 12,000 people dead while I'm given a gravy boat. Unmanageable things go to the very bottom shelf. Torture and mutilation are stuffed like parachutes, air punched out of them by my round fists as if I were making bread, then crammed into the dusty floor level. You might think that war and a linen closet can't intersect, at least not in this world. But take a look. I think I've got it all here, all in order. Granted, it was a dream. Does this help? This next poem is called Go With the Pie. To joke, to laugh, to make others laugh. In fact, to die laughing, would that be a bad thing? An undignified ending after all the gravitas? But maybe the best ending after all the gravitas. Imagine your death preceded by an airborne pie thrown from off stage or from the heavens, smack dab in your face. Your cheeks and nose plastered with peaks of whipped cream piled high like snowdrifts. Fangs, eyebrows, and mustache all white like Santa Claus. Your mouth a big oh surprise. And when it hits you, that the pie has hit you, your oh mouth curls into a comedy masked smile. Bye. Just like that. Like the end of an I Love Lucy show. Pure slapstick. Not sarcasm with its vein of anger behind the mockery. Not puns or jokes either. Too intent on clever endings. No time to be arch. I suppose you could go with irony, which, like the pie, is neither solution nor resolution. No edge, no self-deprecation, just frank humility. Like going out with, I'm just saying. Of course, the soundtrack at your funeral, the moaning violas and oboes can't compete with the pie. It's not the storyboard that folks will remember, the loop of you landing the bluefish on Nantucket, delivering your quinceanera speech, or downing a shot of tequila at your last chemo treatment. The pie is gonna steal their thunder. I say, go with the pie. My last poem is called Let's Make a Villain. A slightly different take, Sajed, from one of yours. It's called Let's Make a Villain. Hey kids, let's make a villain. This paper doll is perfect. Put the evil cape on him. Press down the little paper tabs on each shoulder. See his evil cape? Now draw in a mustache. Villains always have mustaches. Don't forget his paper gun. Don't you just love to hate this villain? Hey kids, want to make a princess? First the gown, then the crown. She'll need a throne, a staff. She is so beautiful. Boy, do I love this princess. Say, where's her prince? Hey kids, let's make a prisoner. All he wears is this striped jumpsuit. Oh, and chains around his ankles and his wrists. Draw a skull tattoo on his neck. No, don't put a smile on him. Prisoners are mean and miserable. Look, there's even a paper doll of a dove and a cutout for her white feathers, which she wears. Then the tab underneath her, so she's sitting on a golden bough. Pretend she's a wizard. Pretend she brings peace to everyone. Hey kids, let's switch it up. Make the villain wear white feathers. Pretend he's cooing. Give the prisoner a gown and staff. Where's his prince? Put the chains around the princess, around her ankles, around her wrists. Draw a mustache on her. Make her mean and miserable. Don't you love the dove? I'm going to end with a few lines from Nigerian poet Ben Okri. This poem is from African Elegy. I too have heard the dead singing, and they tell me that this life is good. They tell me to live it gently, with fire and always with hope. There is wonder here, and there is surprise in everything it is. Thank you again.
Anuma and I are just coming up to give a full announcement. I just wanted to thank you, all of our poets, who are host, Andrea. It's really special to have.
She's our niece, actually.
Yeah, our dear
Host
cousin
and dear
and
cousin.
excellent poet, and nurse oncologist hosting tonight. Special thank you to the Lincoln Institute for being so generous in this space. We wanted to shout out James, our manager, who just got married and has been a wonderful wife. And Katie, who is a Wellesley student and our former intern who has been managing the store while James was out. But she has COVID, so she couldn't come tonight, but she helped set up and both of them helped preparing this. So shout out to them. Anuma's going to tell you a little bit about something exciting. Oh, do you want Mom?
Okay. So I think some of you may know that this weekend, we were also really excited to launch our first in-person iteration of the Menkiti Institute. So we had been doing different things online, but finally this space was opened and our director, Uchenna, had launched with 6 fellows from across the country who are all, thought leaders in their areas of practice. And they were able, 4 of them were able to come along with other scholars who came, and also local community leaders who all came together and engaged in a lot of really interesting discussions. And so we're really excited that they're here with us tonight. So I was just going to ask our director Uchenna, as well as 3 of the fellows who are here, Professor Handel Wright, Professor Mhlaba-Adebo, and Professor Chileazona Eze, to come up and just share quickly where they're from and and what the work they do in the field. So, guys, good.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. Thanks indeed, Enu, Mabu, and everyone. Thanks to you, Ms. Menkiti, for this opportunity to just say something about ourselves. My name is Uchenna Okeja. I come from Nigeria, but I am a professor of philosophy in South Africa at Nelson Mandela University. And for some time now, I've been helping to study work of the Mhlaba-Adebo Institute in Worcester. So thank you very much. I will call the fellows that are here to come say something about their research and engagement at the Mhlaba-Adebo Institute. So first is Professor Mhlaba-Adebo.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. Mhlaba-Adebo. I'm the Armstead Robinson Professor of African American History at the Carter G. Woodson Institute at the University of Virginia. And I work on Africa and the African diaspora. My work has focused on connections between the African diaspora and the African continent. I'm currently working on a family history. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Handel Wright, and I usually have to explain to people how an African can have the name right, but that's another history. My middle name is Kashope, and that's the important one that you might need to know, that is the African connection. I'm a professor of education. My area of specialization is actually cultural studies rather than education. I've done a lot of work around what would constitute African cultural studies as an intervention in what is called global cultural studies. I do work on anti-racism and critical multiculturalism. I'm actually at the University of British Columbia, so some of us have come from further than the US. I was in the States for a good decade. I taught at the University of Tennessee before returning to Canada. And here, it's been so engaging speaking with others about their work, about Menkiti's ideas, and it was great to be here as well. Absolutely wonderful poetry. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Chielo Eze. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I am currently in Minnesota. I'm a professor of Africana Studies and director of Africana Studies at Carleton College. So I actually flew in from Nigeria. I'm spending holidays and research holidays with my family, but I flew in from Nigeria and I'll be flying back to Nigeria tomorrow. I flew in specifically to honor Ifeanyi Menkiti, who is very important to my thinking. I'm a philosopher, and the work I just finished, I'm also a poet and a literary scholar. I finished a book that will be coming out next year on Zora Neale Hurston and Desire as Power, Zora Neale Hurston and the legacy of Black feminism. So, but the work I'll be pursuing, I'll be working as a distinguished fellow for the Mhlaba-Adebo Institute is titled Friendship as Politics, Nelson Mandela and the Future of Multiracial Democracy. So that's the ideas, and borrowing from Menkiti's idea of personhood to examine what we mean to one another and the future of multiracial democracy are also in this country. So it's a pleasure meeting you, and it's an honor to meet you.
Thank you once more. I would just like to mention that a friend and colleague, Dr. Kevin Irakoze, came all the way from the University of Chicago to be here to participate in this iteration of the fellowship program at the Menkiti Institute. He is also a philosopher and also someone that is very interested in the work of Professor Menkiti. So thanks to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, poets, and philosophers, and everyone. And Dubin is here. Dubin is our nephew. He came with his family from England and has visited us. We haven't seen him since he and Bo were little boys. When we went to Nigeria and took our family there, and the two of them played together. Now they're both in their but he plays a traditional Nigerian flute, which was Ifeanyi's favorite music. And I'm sure you will find it one of your favorites as well. I'm just going to ask him to sort of walk around as he plays it. And when he makes a full circle, then we have a reception for you all in the other room there. Okay, so please enjoy.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How is to be? Young boy, those days that grew up in Nigeria, studied, the job. And Ifeanyi Menkiti tried so much for the babe, for his school fees in Worcester here, but I wouldn't get a visa to come to study in the United States. Here I am today, my family. Got a 19-year-old who is actually studying because she has an exam to enter into the medical school. So she's at home now doing her exams. So this evening, I just want to say a big thank you. Ifeanyi Menkiti and my big auntie for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I have a wonderful family and a wonderful wife, beautiful wife. And I've got 4 kids now. I just wonder what would have been my fate if not for Professor Ifeanyi Menkiti. So it's just to say thank you, and thank you again to Professor Ifeanyi Menkiti. I really appreciate your efforts. Now I will do my bit. Blow this flute for. I grew up as a young man and had this group, which, well, I'm a math server, I served in the churches. So we had this group together that we learned this African music. So that is where I learned how to blow this flute. So I'm doing it today for him. But I've loved that he is still here, but again, so be it. But, it's for him.
Oh. Thank you. That is very special. This is his wife and one of his daughters. There is a reception to follow, just through that doors there. Thank you so much.
You start
I've been to both Zimbabwe and South Africa and Nigeria
Okay,
at different times.
okay.
Yeah.
Which part of Zimbabwe was served?
In Harare.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
I was there in the council of churches representing my tradition, which is the Religious Society of Friends of Faith. It was there. But he was I know. Which is the second time I've seen.
Yeah. And then in South Africa, we do that. Okay, they are really here. So I have family. Well done. We got married in Joburg. So you're
Hi, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, left hands above. He's done.
Peace building.
So I'm so glad that it takes guts to get on there.
Actually,
But I'm not reporting that.
I know it's been a long day.
I think she should say it again.
It's called Pensive, Global Journal of the Arts. I do, yeah. Alex, way to go. I run to the family. That's all in a gift. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah. I know that. Got married before I graduated. Got married.
Half and half.
Probably 6 months.
Yes,
For
yes.
reading.
Yeah, my dad was a dean. Yeah, he was a dean. Some fund last. Yeah, he was a
Maybe before my time.
yeah, 20, I think he retired in.
I will just
Had a guardianship.
You guys are. It used to be called just Center for Spiritual Life or Spiritual Life Office, and then back in 2012. when I just came to-
Oh, you're still friends with
Alex, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. This is my wife. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, are you gonna stick around for the rest of
Definitely.
Okay,
I never miss a reception. Take care.
Always nice to meet you.
Congratulations, great job.
Actually,
See, I was going to find out more about the instrument.
Yeah, colors.
It's pretty good and stuff. I was gonna go over there. I didn't wanna add.
Was that right?
Yeah, well, I'm only. Yeah, then she sent me a.
Actually, I just got it. I mean, John. Dismissal, you know.
Okay, so see,
I saw who changed that.
You want me to have?
She felt it.
Yes,
Trying to get like that.
Okay. We couldn't make it yesterday. We were coming from drive, 6 hours. So no problem. That's fine. Long time. How do you? Madam, good evening. For some reason, so you never forget it. So 20 years on, I'm still being able to.
Hello. Say thank you.
So I really just kind of learned by playing.
One never knows the impact.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. I was so excited. Any particular style?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I used to be. I am. That's awesome. I was just saying hi from. Yeah, that's what
I know.
No, but I'm at the short season judge.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do know her.
Yeah, I met her sometime before she came to read. So as you talked about the part of the
Yes.
so I thought, oh, maybe
Yes, I do know.
there's a connection.
Yes, we went to the same high school. Yes, yeah, but I haven't seen her in a while. The last time I saw her when she was in Boston, because her friend Rumika Tedza was here at Harvard on a film fellowship.
Yeah.
And so I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, thanks for beautiful reading.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, are you gonna stick around? So maybe I can chat with you without the.
Yeah.
Will I go there?
I'm driving back to Worcester.
Drive back already?
Yeah, to
Okay.
Worcester. But I think maybe indeed you will have your contact.
Yeah, I can give you my card too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about like this. So I'll get one.
Yeah,
Great.
Gets into you.
Yeah.
Originally, I moved to the Netherlands. When I inquired to try to come over here.
I just did. Well, happy birthday. Thank you. Well, it's November.
I spent some time
Really.
Listen, I've been there tonight.
I first met, I was
Because Haitian English takes a while, and I was speak very fast.
you will get a hang of it very quickly.
Yes, yeah.
And Lagos was the best place to be, like, yeah.
Not when everybody's saying, oh, what are you here?
There's always gonna be.
Yeah. Wow.
I look very excited.